Hello everybody, this is Refresh and I am here to do a second pack opening and sealed deck build for Theros Beyond Death. We have our 6 packs here and you can check out the description box below to see the previous deck that we made. And then we'll pit them against each other and put them against some challenge decks afterwards. So let's go ahead and get started. First pack gets us an Oread of Mountain's Blaze, Transcendent Envoy, Stern Dismissal, Final Flare, Blight Breath Catapulpus, Relentless Pursuit, Flummoxed Cyclops, Mogus's Favor, Captivating Unicorn, Whirlwind Denial, Impending Doom, Glimpse of Freedom, Klothys, God of Destiny, wow, in fancy artwork, and a Phoenix of Ash in foil, as well as a Swamp and a Human Soldier. Second pack gets us a tip card, Plains, Setessan Skirmisher in foil, a Gravebreaker Lamia, Staggering Insight, Timuret, Chosen from the Dead, Inevitable End, Skophos War Leader, Final Flare, Omen of the Sea, Flummoxed Cyclops, Indomitable Will, Relentless Pursuit, Raid-Scarred Berserker, Discordant Piper, Loathsome Chimera. Next pack gets us a Flicker of Fate, Altar of the Pantheon, Fruit of Tizerus, Sunmane Pegasus, Venomous Hierophant, Final Flare, Witness of Tomorrows, Skophos War Leader, Warbriar Blessing, Triton Wave Rider, Mire Triton, Favored of Erois, Ferris Band Brawler, Nylea's Intervention, Plains, and a Satyr Token. Oh, and I figured it out. Some of these are slightly taller packs and are slightly bluer in hue, whereas some of them are slightly greener in hue. And the taller ones have the reverse order where you start with the rare and you move back to the commons, and then the shorter ones with the greener packs have the regular standard order of starting with the commons and going back to the rare. Alright, we have a Sleep of the Dead, Incendiary Oracle, Omen of the Sun, Triton Wave Rider, Soul Reaper of Mogus, Omen of the Hunt, Altar of the Pantheon, Nylea's Huntmaster, Fruit of Tizerus, Captivating Unicorn, Dawn Evangel, Whirlwind Denial, Favored of Erois, Taranika, a Crowan Veteran, Mountain, and a Human Soldier token. Then we have a Human Soldier token, a Forest, a Temple of Abandon, a Siona, Captain of Pyleas, Mystic Repeal, Mirror Shield, Underworld Rage Hound, Glory Bearers, Arena Trickster, Hyrax Tower Scout, Heliod's Pilgrim, Nyxborn Sea Guard, Final Death, Memory Drain, Underworld Charger, Skola Grove Dancer. And our final pack gets us a Human Soldier and a Mountain, as well as a Cling to Dust, Ashiok Nightmare Muse, Wolf Willow Haven, Hero of the Nyxborn, Dawn Evangel, Portent of Betrayal, Altar of the Pantheon, Deny the Divine, Revoke Existence, Thirst for Meaning, Karametra's Blessing, Setessan Training, Fruit of Tizerus, and Towering Wave Mystic. And that is everything. We got 2 mythics in Klothys and Ashiok, and we're going to have to try to find out if we can play one or both of them, but they are in 4 different colors, and so there is going to have to be some amount of fixing involved in order to play them all, and probably like a double splash. So I don't think it's likely, although Klothys seems more likely because of the Temple of Abandon. Alright, let's go ahead and examine each color. For white, Karametra's Blessing is an okay combat trick, best if in draft because then you can make sure to get more enchantment creatures. Revoke Existence, I think, is fine in this format. We have a Dawn Evangel, which I think can be good if you have an aura deck going on. The Heliod's Pilgrim, I think, is generally good as long as you have auras to get with it. Glory Bearers can be fine, but it's not a high pick here. Terranica is nice and aggressive, but again, that is sort of dependent if that's your strategy or not. The Fairy of Aroas is pretty good, I think, as long as you can play all the enchantments. We have another Dawn Evangel. The Captivating Unicorn, I think, is fine in an aggressive deck as a curve topper. The Omen of the Sun I like a lot, just because it's surprise, it gets you some bodies, and you can get on attacking. And it's an enchantment as well. We have a second favorite of Aroas as well. We have a Sunmane Pegasus, which is just okay. The Flicker of Fate does have some potential to get additional value off of things like your omens and your other creatures, so that's something to keep in mind as well. Indomitable Will can be good too in the right deck. I think in a deck that really wants combat tricks, but that also wants to get some advantage off of enchantments entering the battlefield. We have a second Captivating Unicorn. I like the Transcendent Envoy quite a bit, but we don't actually have any good auras except for Indomitable Will in white. So I think white is a pretty solid color. There are a lot of decent synergies here with the enchantments, but we would want more auras in order to play white. So it's something to keep in mind. And also to note, in white we get the Hero of the Nyxborn with red, which is also pretty good, as well as the Staggering Insight if we play it with blue, which is also a good aura. We also have Siona, Captain of Peleus, which is also a pretty good card if you've got auras. This is kind of an aura boss of sorts. So another card that we want to keep in mind as well. Taking a look at our blue cards, we have the Towering Wave Mystic, which is fine if you want to self-mill. The Thirst for Meaning, which is pretty good, I think, as a card draw spell. Deny the Divine, which is just okay, but it does counter the two main permanent types that are in this set. Memory Drain, I think, is a little worse just because it costs 4 mana and you have to hold that up. The Nyxborn Seaguard is just fine as a defensive creature, but nothing that we're like looking to have. We have another Whirlwind Denial, which is, again, it's just not a great counterspell, but I suppose it is worth considering if we need a counterspell. The Triton Wave Rider is, I guess, a card that can get in for damage here and there, but it's not great. I like Sleep of the Dead because it is a removal of sorts and you can get it back. We have another Triton Wave Rider. The Witness of Tomorrows, I think, is a fine curve topper as a basher. I like Omen of the Sea for its card drawing capacity. Glimpse of Freedom can be used to repeatedly draw cards. It's not as good, but I think it is also good. And then we have another Whirlwind Denial. And a Stern Dismissal, which I think is okay as a tempo play, but not exactly the hottest thing in the world. And blue looks kind of on the weaker side here. I think we're mostly getting some card draw and a Witness of Tomorrows. So I am not inclined to play blue. However, blue again gets a Staggering Insight as well as Ashiok Nightmare Muse. And Ashiok Nightmare Muse is quite a beast. Like, this is almost worth trying to figure out a way to play it. So I'm going to really consider if there is a way that we can play blue and black and like splash or both. I don't know that there is, but if there is, we may have to play some of these Altars of the Pantheon to get there. Taking a look at black, Fruit of Tizarus, I just won't play. I don't think anyone's that aggressive. Cling to Dust is a good sideboard card. I think that's about all that it is. Underworld Charger is fine. Final Death is removal. I think I'd only ever want one of these in a deck. We have another Fruit. The Soul Reaper of Mogus I think is decent because it does let you draw cards off of your creatures that you're sacrificing that you can get back. The Triton works well with the escape cards, so I think that is a decent card as well, and the Death Touch is not bad either. The Hierophant I'm not as interested in, but it does work with your escape plan. Another Fruit is not that good. Discordant Piper I think is okay. I mean, it is something that you can trade away to self-sacrifice if you need it, and that is a theme that is present here, but it's not like a hot card. It's not something I'm really looking to play early. Rage Guard Berserker is a fine curve topper as well. because it at least lets one of your creatures bash in, but it's not like high priority either. I guess I would put it here. Inevitable End is kind of like a bad removal spell, I guess. Maybe I'd play one of them. The Timur Chosen from Death is good as far as a blocker goes, and it does get you some incidental life gain as well as dealing with your opponent's escape cards. The Gravebreaker Lamia is quite strong. It's just a 4/4 lifelink for 5, I think makes it quite good. And then it does pump your escape plans, so not the worst thing there. Logus' Favor, I think, is a decent escape card, and one that you want to use to kill X1s. So I will keep that in consideration. We have the Blight Breath Catapultus, which I think is fine, but not amazing, because it costs 6 mana, but it does have removal on the body, so there we go. I think black is okay. It's not amazing, though. I don't think that there is enough reward for escaping here, and not that many escape cards to begin with that are worth it. I'm not going to play any of these Roots of Tizarus, for example. And so I think that together, blue and black are pretty weak, and so playing Ashiok may not be in the cards. Let's go ahead and take a look at red. We have a Portent of Betrayal, which can be good if you have enough sacrifice effects, but that may not be what we're doing here. And I guess if you're super aggressive, it's not bad either. We also have the Arena Trickster, which I guess is okay if you're playing the deck that has a lot of instants. The Underworld Ragehound, I think, is pretty good in an aggressive deck. The Incendiary Oracle is fine as far as the 2-drop goes. The Scophus Warleader is a okay curve topper because of the menace ability, but it's not high on the list of things. Final Flare is a good way to team up with a Portent of Betrayal if you have a lot of mana to blow something up, but it's not that great of a removal spell because it does cost you another permanent, and so I would play it if I have enough to sacrifice. The Phloemix Cyclops is an okay aggressive card, not as much of a blocker, and so I think I'd only want to play it in a very aggressive sort of deck here. And we have another Final Flare. I'd probably only ever play one of them. The Scophus Warleader is back. Phoenix of Ash is excellent. A 2/2 that recurs itself and gets bigger when it recurs itself is pretty good. I think Impending Doom is okay. It's high risk, high reward. If you can get blown up pretty easily, and the impact of it dying does hit you. So I'm not sure that I'm going to play it in most decks, but I can consider it. I can also sacrifice it with the Final Flare in order to prevent its effect from coming off, so that's also an option. Another Phloemix Cyclops, another Final Flare, and then Oread of Mountain's Blaze. This is okay as a rummaging effect, but not like high on the list of things that an aggressive deck in red would want. And then again with red, we're going to get Clothis, which is excellent. Also, the Hero of the Nyxborn is an option if we go with white instead. So I think red is okay. It really wants a lot of lower mana aggressive cards to work. And it's possible if it pairs with white and we get the Hero of the Nyxborn that it can pull that off. So I'm definitely still considering that as well. Then we have green. We have Setessan Training, which is a fine card, especially if you want to attack. The Wolfwalla Haven is just fine as well. I think it ramps you, and then you can eventually sacrifice it to get a wolf, and that's not the worst thing in the world once the extra mana becomes useless. The Grove Dancer, I think, is okay. It does allow some self-mill options here, but definitely not high on the list of things that we want. We have the Hyrax Tower Scout, which is a fine creature, but that's about it. Mischief Repeal is a way to deal with enchantments, and in this set it may actually act as removal, so I think it's okay. The Huntmaster is quite good, I think, because it pumps one of your creatures when it enters the battlefield, and is a decent body for its price. So, I mean, as just a really basic creature, it's fine. I think Omen of the Hunt is decent as well. It draws you a land and ramps you, so if you have something you're ramping towards, I think it's good. And then you can sacrifice and scry it, and you also adds to devotion. All these omens are typically pretty cool, so I think I like the Omen quite a bit. The Nylea's Intervention is exclusively for sideboard against flying creatures, I guess. I don't think it's a very good card in limited. Would not play it. Theros Beyond Brawler, on the other hand, is quite good because it comes in and it kills a thing. So I'm going to pick that very highly here. Warbriar Blessing is pretty good as far as a fight effect goes. The Loathsome Chimera, I think it's okay. It does keep recurring itself and it hits hard, but it basically trades for even the smallest creature. So that, I think, is a downside of the Loathsome Chimera. Probably better than the Skull of Grove Dancer, though. Relentless Pursuit is not really the kind of thing that we're looking for, but sometimes you just need that 23rd card to get a land or a creature. And then if you want to dump stuff in your graveyard, that's a thing, but we don't have a lot of cards that we want to dump in the graveyard. So Test and Skirmisher is good if you're high on enchantments. That may not be what we're doing here. We do have like a couple auras here and the Omen, but this is definitely not high on the list of good 2-drops. And then another Relentless Pursuit. So green doesn't look amazing. It has a few good cards in it, and I think it would synergize well with other decks. And it does open access to Siona as well as Klothys. But I think we're probably looking at some combination of white, red, splash green is probably where this deck is at, but we could also try to just make the blue and black work. Alright, so I think what I'll do is I'm going to try like the red-white deck and maybe splashing green for the 2 off-color cards and see if that might work. Probably not playing the Arena Trickster. Probably not playing the 3rd Final Flare. I don't know about this deck. It seems like there's not a lot for the hero Nyxborn to trigger that ability. There are some 2-drops for the Dawn Evangels to get back, but it wants them to be wearing auras, and the only aura that I have is the Indomitable Will. So this may not actually be the right color pair here. That's splashing a whole lot of 3-drops, but not having many auras for them. Let's take a look at what if it pairs with green and we splash red instead. This kind of feels even thinner. Again, there's not a lot of 2-drops for the Evangels to get back. It's not a lot of enchantments to trigger the Favored of Heroises. So maybe white is the wrong color, and we'll try a combination of green and red on Klothys and see if maybe we splash white instead. If we want, we could splash white for the hero and the Siona. But we don't have a lot of auras here. I guess we have 3. Hero the Nyxborn is not terribly good in this pair. I guess we can maybe get it once with this Attested Training or the Warbriar Blessing, but it's probably not good enough to put these in. As far as the curve goes, though, this is fine. We have some little bits of removal, some bigger guys to fight with. It's not an exceptional deck, but it works, and we have a Klothys even. This might be the right pairing here. We'll put this aside and maybe play this, but first we'll take a look to see if blue-black has any potential so that we can play the Ashiok. I feel like this is not really a deck. It's a little short on just about everything. So I think the correct pick is to play the green-red deck. So we'll rebuild that and we'll try to make it work. So this is 24 cards, which is only 1 more than what we're looking for here. So maybe we just remove the 1 weakest card here. We only have 7 enchantments, so I think this Test and Skirmisher is going to probably be the weakest of the bunch here. So we'll remove that. So we have 13 red symbols and 12 green symbols. So I think we just do 9 mountains and 7 forests. And we'll call that a deck. Quick addendum. I should note that because I have the Temple of Abandon, I actually only need 8 of each. Let me know what your thoughts were about this opening and build. If you think that I went in the wrong direction, let me know how you would have done it in the comments. If you found this video entertaining or helpful, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of my videos, you can hit subscribe. This was Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.